Hey guys, JB here from Alpha Wolf Consulting, coming to you today with the next lesson in the Introduction to Sales and Communications course, which is all about mapping out your sales cycle. So, if you remember in the last lesson, we talked about what is a sales cycle. So, a sales cycle is just the composition of all the different touch points, all the different activities, all the different milestones and markers and all the different things that have to align for the sale to occur. So when we're mapping out our sales cycle, we want to keep it clear in terms of we want to have clearly one set of intention for each stage of the sales cycle. So, for example, in the initial contact stage, well, we don't want to be presenting and trying to close the client and creating these closing offers. Well, what we want to do is we want to keep the milestones as moving and progressing them to the next stage of the cycle, to the next meeting. So like, to just understand this is where the point of a sales cycle is we are creating a cohesive and coherent process and journey and experience from start to finish of not understanding or having heard of the product to purchasing the product. So we want to take them through the journey, and we want to keep the journey as clear as possible. So stage one is all about initial contact. It's all about initial information. Stage two, where we're going into the first meeting, is more about more detailed more detailed information. We're doing different things where, our milestones and markers and our tasks might be more around deliverables in terms of initial findings from the meeting of what they're after and all of that, and delivery of substantial or subsequent information to where they might have asked specific questions or for specific information in the first meeting, and we're sending them the information and moving them to the next meeting. So we just understand when we're mapping it out, we want to be detailed, but we don't want to be over detailed. So we don't want to be detailed to the extent that we have irrelevant steps, stages, information, milestones. So we want to keep it as clean and clear of a process as we can in terms of, where we're not going out there and having, you know, 30 different tasks write email, send email, review email, send email, write email, review email, send email. Like, we don't want to be clogging up our sales cycle with all these irrelevant tasks. We want to sort of keep it as key themes or milestones. So in the initial contact stage, a key milestone is contacting the client, regardless of if it's good, bad, or ugly. Like, that's the key milestone, because now we can either progress them down to the next stage or they progress outside of the sales cycle. So we just want to understand that, while we may have, first call, first email, first text, second call, second email, second text, third call, third email, third text, like, we have it like that, so that essentially, you know, while we're being detailed, we don't have to detail out and individualize every little thing. So to make that even simpler, we could have first contact, and a contact is a combination of call, text, email, and we can just, first call, second call, third call, and keep it simple like that. So we just want to have, detailed understanding about all the activities, but we want to create it in a framework that's streamlined and seamless in terms of, we're not having to worry about irrelevant or illogical information that we don't need to be. So, for example, in the initial contact stage, we don't really need to know anything about, the final stages in terms of, the forms and things like that. Like, so we're not sort of introducing them to a form they're going to sign in 3 weeks. It's sort of we're keeping all the information relevant so that we're not overloading them as well. So that's a key thing to mapping out the stages of the sales cycle, is that we want to keep it as smooth and streamlined as a process. And what I mean by this is by not overloading the prospective buyer with unnecessary or undue information. We don't want to be influencing negatively their decision making by adding in illogical or irrelevant information. So if we're talking to a customer about buying a car, we're not talking about holidays to Greece. We're not talking about, this, that, and the other. We don't say to the customer who's about to buy, let's say, a $40,000 car, mate, I would have used this money to go over to Ibiza and this and that and go on a party spree and do this and do that. Like, we're working against ourselves if that happens. So that's the point of this, of a sales cycle, is that we want to have all of our information, all of our interactions want to be relevant and coherent in the context of they are all linked to the overall goal of the sale. So that's an important thing, is that when we're our sales cycle, the mapping of it is just the linking of activities to other outcomes and future activities. All right. Well, I hope you understand a little bit more and get a bit out of this one. Essentially, it's quite easy, but we're thinking in terms of nothing complex. Okay. It's the tasks, it's, the activities, it's the contact points, it's the interactions, it's the information. Like, it's just working out, when do I give the information, at what stage? When do I start collecting this information? All right. Well, you guys have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you again later. Thanks so much.